Welcome to Live Interactive English. My name is Winnie.
And my name is Matt.
And today we are going to be continuing our Christmas celebration, talking about all of these cool traditions. Like, for example, every year my family and I will make Christmas dinner. So that's usually a roast beef. But what about you? Do you feel like Taiwan has a great big kind of Christmas vibe, Christmas celebration, Christmas spirit?
Well, usually I find it hard to really, as we say, get into the Christmas spirit. When I'm in Taiwan, part of the reason is the weather. The weather doesn't match my feeling of Christmas.
The tropical Christmas.
Yeah, so even Taiwan's winters I think are quite warm, even though some people will say it's cold.
It's still too cold, yeah.
I think it's quite warm, and it's much warmer than it would be in Canada, where I'm from, in the winter.
Yeah, it's not a white Christmas.
Right, there's no chance of getting snow.
No.
Yeah, so that's part of it, and then just the vibe. It's not, people aren't in the Christmas spirit either,
Right.
as we say. So usually, if you're in Canada around Christmas, most stores will have Christmas decorations. People will be saying Christmas greetings to you. When you go into a store, when you're buying something, people might say Merry Christmas, and it really gives a whole feeling of the Christmas atmosphere.
Right.
Which I find hard to get here.
Whereas if it was, Lunar New Year, you would feel that spirit.
That's right. When you hear those songs in every store
Yeah.
about luck and money.
Yes. Yes. But I see what you mean. It's hard to get into the spirit of Christmas on a tropical island, but hopefully these Christmas symbols will help you feel that holiday spirit. So we're continuing today with Christmas symbols and where they come from, part 2.
Gingerbread. Gingerbread was first brought to Europe by an Armenian monk in 992, but how it became linked with Christmas isn't clear. It's possible that ginger's warming taste made it popular during cold winters and, therefore, at Christmas time. We do know for certain that England's Queen Elizabeth I gave out gingerbread men to her guests in the 16th century. Some people think gingerbread houses were also becoming popular in Germany around the same time.
Hey there! Today we are looking at part 2 of our article called Christmas Symbols and Where They Come From.
Let's get started. So, gingerbread. Oh, that is one of my favorites. A lot of people in this office know I love gingerbread. I make it almost every year. Gingerbread was first brought to Europe by an Armenian monk in 992. But how it became linked with Christmas isn't clear. A lot of people think gingerbread, they think of the root ginger, which, it is, but it's not fresh ginger. At least not nowadays. It's a dried and then powdered form of the root ginger. Because I think if you use fresh ginger, that would be very spicy.
Oh, would it be too spicy?
It would be very bitter too. Okay. Yeah, but as we were saying, it was an Armenian monk who introduced gingerbread to Europe. And a monk is a noun for a person who gives their life to a religious community. So someone who devotes their life to a religion. So for example, the monk spent the whole day praying to God.
Okay, so we said it's not clear how gingerbread became linked with Christmas. So to be linked means to be connected, to have a relationship with something else. So usually it's when two things are connected.
Right, like we think gingerbread, we think Christmas.
Right, you can think of the links of a chain. The two things are connected, it's linked together. So for example, over the years, pizza has become linked with New York City.
Right, you think New York City, you think, a slice of pizza.
A New York slice.
Yeah.
That's right, and you think of Christmas, you think, I want some gingerbread.
Yeah, or red and green.
Stoplights. All right, moving on. It's possible that ginger's warming taste made it popular during cold winters and therefore at Christmas time.
Yes. Actually, a lot of people, when they feel sick, they'll drink like ginger tea. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking about ginger tea or like ginger used as flavoring in drinks is often associated with wintertime drinks.
Right.
Things that make you feel warm after you've been
cozy.
out playing in the snow or driving in the snow.
Ooh, okay.
We do know for certain that England's Queen Elizabeth I gave out gingerbread men to her guests in the 16th century.
Oh, that's kind of sweet. Oh, that's nice.
I bet they were sweet.
Ah, I see what you did there. Some people think gingerbread houses were also becoming popular in Germany around the same time. Actually, when I was a kid, I went to a Canadian school, and actually every year we would make our own gingerbread houses.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't really have a house because I would just be eating, and I wouldn't do much building.
Eat the house before it was finished?
Yeah, it was more like a ginger scaffolding.
Well, I also made gingerbread houses as a kid. I remember one year I had a party where I invited my friends over and we all built gingerbread houses together.
Nice. Yeah, it really gets you into the mood for, Christmas time, nothing better. You don't always want to spend outside in the snow, so you have to do something inside.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Winter's not a very nice time to be outside.
Yeah.
So you need some indoor activities like making houses out of gingerbread.
Exactly, but we'll see what else we can do right after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们今天要继续来看一些圣诞节的象征，还有它们的来源。那下一个要介绍的是 gingerbread。姜饼，在西元992年，一位亚美尼亚僧侣首度把这个姜饼带到欧洲，但他如何跟圣诞节产生关联这件事并不清楚，有可能是这个生姜的温暖味道使它在寒冷的冬天受到欢迎，也因此呢，在圣诞节就受到欢迎了。不过可以确定的是，16世纪的时候，英国女王伊丽莎白一世把姜饼人赠送给她的客人。那有些人认为姜饼屋大约是在相同的时间在德国开始流行起来。Winnie 老师提到说，他小时候念的学校每年都会做姜饼屋，可是老师都会边做边吃，所以没办法完成整个姜饼屋。老师开玩笑说，他做出来的应该是姜饼鹰架。那老师说的 scaffolding 就是鹰架的意思。好，那么来看课文单字 monk。Monk 表示修道士或是僧侣 ，link 在这边当动词表示使连结、使相关联。那这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。这边要介绍一个句型是 it is 形容词 that 主词加动词，这是用来描述某事是怎么样的。句型当中的 it 是虚主词，代替真正的主词 that 子句。例如 it is crucial that you follow the instructions carefully， 仔细遵照指示很重要。接话课文中。
Reindeer.How did Santa come to be pulled in a sleigh on Christmas Eve by magical reindeer? Well, it started with poems printed in the 1820s. In one of these poems, Santa was described as driving a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer. Later, in 1939, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was introduced in a story by Robert L. May. Santa's 9 reindeer have been a part of Christmas songs, stories, and celebrations ever since.These Christmas symbols have come from different places around the world and from times long gone. Now, along with other traditions, they represent the most wonderful time of the year.
Welcome back from the break. Before the break, we learned a little bit about the history of gingerbread, which was introduced into Europe by an Armenian monk in 992. However, we don't really know why it got linked with Christmas. In the 16th century, though, Queen Elizabeth I was known to give her guests gingerbread men. And around the same time, in Germany, they also started to introduce gingerbread houses to celebrate Christmas.
All right, so we've got another Christmas symbol here, and it's reindeer. So how did Santa come to be pulled in a sleigh on Christmas Eve by magical reindeer?
Yes, they fly in the sky.
They do fly in the sky, that's right. And they can obviously travel incredibly fast because they had to go around the whole world in one night.
Horsepower, more like reindeer power.
Oh. Well, it started with poems printed in the 1820s.
Oh, so about 100 years ago.
So they're not really all that old.
Right.
They're only, about 100 years old.
Right, and so we have this word poem, which is our noun, and it is basically a piece of text that can be written or sang or spoken that has meaningful metaphors. And sometimes a lot of poems, they actually rhyme. So the last word kind of sounds like the next last word, okay? So my mom read a very nice poem at my wedding.
Well, that's sweet.
Yes, that is very nice.
Okay. So print. To print something means to transfer either text, meaning words and writing, or patterns to another material or to paper in most cases. Often when we talk about something being printed, we're talking about it being, made copies of it en masse. So when a book is printed, you're making many copies to distribute to many people or to sell to many people.
Right.
So for example, at first, only 100 copies of the book were printed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in one of these poems, Santa was described as driving a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer.
Quick, who are they?
That's Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid, and Donner and Blitzen. That's the 8 at this time tiny reindeer.
Right. Rudolph wasn't in with them yet.
Right, but this sounds pretty cute. I wonder how tiny they were. Is it like a lap reindeer where you can just like pet it like this?
Like reindeer pups?
Right.
Okay. Later in 1939, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was introduced in a story by Robert L. May. Santa's 9 reindeer have been a part of Christmas songs, stories, and celebrations ever since. Although I guess you could say the most famous reindeer is now Rudolph.
That's right. Rudolph is the most famous reindeer of all. It's from a Christmas song.
Yes.
Yes, definitely the most famous, but the most recently created reindeer.
That's true. But you didn't forget about the other 8, so...
I did not.
Yes.
These Christmas symbols have come from different places around the world and from times long gone. Now, along with other traditions, they represent the most wonderful time of the year.
Christmas is actually my favorite holiday.
It is.
It is. I love it because even though for you it's kind of hard to get into the Christmas spirit because, especially in Taiwan, it's very tropical. I think Christmas makes me feel like it's colder than it actually is. So it makes me feel colder.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have this verb represent. It means to speak for or to be a symbol for something or someone. So for example, different colors can represent different emotions. And just like I was saying, red can sometimes, you think red, you think of, well, in my instance, I think it means Christmas, but you say traffic light. But a lot of people will think of red as, anger, right? So angry. So we think red represents the emotion of anger.
But red also means love.
Oh, right. Exactly. So it has different representations. It represents different emotions. So, Matthew, Matt, Maddie, do you have your own Christmas traditions that you do every year?
On Christmas, usually if I'm in Taiwan, my family is not here.
Right,
they're
in Canada.
But I do have a small Christmas tree, which I put up every year, and I decorate with decorations that I've had since I was young in Canada. So my mom usually gives me a new Christmas tree decoration every year.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it usually has something to do with an event or something that occurred in that year.
Oh.
So I have these memories on my Christmas tree. I also decorate my house with Christmas lights and other things like that, and always make sure to have a special Christmas dinner around Christmas.
So no burning candles on your tiny tree?
I do have a candle that, it's not on the tree, it's a tree-scented candle.
Ooh.
Because usually around Christmas time,
Yeah,
if you have a real Christmas tree, you can smell it throughout the house.
Yes.
So I have a candle which gives you that smell in your house, so it's like I have a real tree.
That's smart. Okay, I might have to take a page out of your Christmas spirit book. Well, that's all we have for today. We hope you guys have a great holiday coming soon, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
下一个要介绍的圣诞节象征是 reindeer 驯鹿。在1820年代印刷的诗歌当中，有一首诗描述了圣诞老公公驾着一个带有8只小驯鹿的微型雪橇。那么后来在1939年有一个故事就介绍了红鼻子驯鹿鲁道夫。从那时起啊，圣诞老公公的9只驯鹿就一直都是圣诞歌曲、故事还有庆祝活动的一部分。好，来看单字 poem。Poem 它表示诗，一首诗。那么 print 当动词，它表示出版、发行或是印刷、印的意思。represent 这个动词表示象征、代表。那它的名词是 representation， 它可以表达象征、代表或者是描绘、体现。那这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。我们来看第一个重点是 ever since 的用法。首先第一个 since 可以当副词来表达从什么什么以来，它的前方可以加上 ever 来加强语气。那么 ever since 常常搭配完成式，例如 They moved to Chicago 5 years ago and have lived there ever since. 他们5年前搬到芝加哥，从此就住在那里。那第二个 since 可以当连接词，后面就接子句，注意子句的是用过去式动词，或者是呢，它可以当介系词，后面接过去的时间点，用来表达说自从什么什么以来。since 的前面还可以加上 ever 加强语气，例如 Mia has wanted to be a singer ever since she was a child. Mia 从小就一直想要成为歌手。好，那第二个重点是 along with， 它是片语介系词。那以下介绍2种用法。第一个可以表达连同、以及或者是和什么什么一起，它就跟 together with 意思相同。当结构是 A 逗号 along with B， 这时候呢，动词就要搭配 A 来做变化。我们造2个例句。Mark started a new business along with his brothers. Mark 和他的兄弟们一起创业。那第二个例句是 Susan along with her parents is traveling to Europe next month. Susan 和她的爸妈下个月要去欧洲旅游。好，来看到第二个用法是用 along with 去表达除了什么什么之外还有什么，意思就会跟 in addition to 一样，像是 along with the dress, she also bought a scarf. 除了洋装之外，她还买了一条围巾。好，那么以上的这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Gingerbread. Gingerbread was first brought to Europe by an Armenian monk in 992, but how it became linked with Christmas isn't clear. It's possible that ginger's warming taste made it popular during cold winters and, therefore, at Christmas time. We do know for certain that England's Queen Elizabeth I gave out gingerbread men to her guests in the 16th century. Some people think gingerbread houses were also becoming popular in Germany around the same time. Reindeer. How did Santa come to be pulled in a sleigh on Christmas Eve by magical reindeer? Well, it started with poems printed in the 1820s. In one of these poems, Santa was described as driving a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer. Later, in 1939, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was introduced in a story by Robert L. May. Santa's 9 reindeer have been a part of Christmas songs, stories, and celebrations ever since. These Christmas symbols have come from different places around the world and from times long gone. Now, along with other traditions, they represent the most wonderful time of the year.
Hey, it's Kiwi on the street.
I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie, and you are giving me nothing right now. We need to do this all over again.
I'm sorry, I've just been having so much homework lately and I haven't been sleeping well. I'm really running on empty.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. You can rest after this, after we practice our phrases.
Fine.
let's work on our phrases. Our first one is 骗人的把戏恶作剧. So monkey business or donkey business?
Donkey business.
Monkey's business.
I think it's monkey business.
Monkey?
And I think donkey.
I think it's monkey business.
Donkey business.
Donkey business.
Donkey business.
You think it's donkey business, and we'll see if you are correct. Aw, it's monkey business. Okay, good try, but you can still get a point. Okay, we have next fish story or cat story.
Okay, 夸大不实的故事，说大话。
Ooh, which
I
one do you
think it's
think?
cat story.
Cat story.
Fish story.
Fish story. Cat story.
Cat story.
Cat story.
Cat story.
So both cat story, right?
Okay.
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 3, 2, 1.
Well, I'm sorry, it's fish
Hey.
story. Okay, well, it's okay. What did we learn today? We learned a lot of new phrases today, but what do they mean? Let's check out the first one, monkey business. The phrase monkey business means to act silly, play tricks, fool around, and sometimes to be deceitful. It's also used to describe something that shouldn't be taken seriously. Although there are many ideas of how the phrase came to be, if you really think of the phrase quite literally, you can think of monkeys in their natural behavior. They are quite mischievous, active, and naughty, so they really get into a lot of monkey business. Our next phrase is fish story. A fish story is basically a story that is unlikely to be true. In other words, a tall tale. The origin of this phrase came from the early 1800s, where fishermen tend to exaggerate the size of the fish that they catch. It happens so often that the fish story turned into something that was used figuratively. And those are the phrases that we learned today. KiWi later!